niggas going, yeah, they want out. Don't regret it, don't sweat it.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. My pen steady like that's all I gotta focus on, and I don't. They wanna take the energy from me and they won't. Everything I got for free to me mean the most, even the hate. That come in handy, that let me know I'm still lit. They still talking and can't stand. And no, I ain't like that from the hip. Had it all planned out, off the rip. I need results, not counting the tips. Speaking all these keys.
I like the water bottle too. Okay, I see the water bottle.
You gotta have your glasses on.
Still gotta have my glasses on. Absolutely.
Are those the new ones?
Because it's bright. Yeah. Had to get the fresh ones without the crack in the middle. Shout out to Coles. People be thinking you gotta go all over the place to get some nice shades. What? I used to go to the gas station and get some fire ones. They weren't Ray-Bans though.
That's okay.
They look like Ray-Bans.
Until Ray-Bans pull up.
They was Fay-Bans. But as you can see, we got the lovely B in the building right now. And she always gotta do some weird shit.
Okay.
But it's all right.
You don't gotta do that.
We love her for who she is.
I would hope so.
Don't do that. Don't do that. So, as you know, we got B here. Special. Just she always gonna be popping in here. Just as long as y'all know. And and I slap you if y'all got something to say about it. So no, we gonna talk about it though. Hey, with the no cap recap, that's what we're gonna get into. This was Dawkis verse Curtis Blades, which was a banger. It was a banger, great night. But we're gonna talk about it. Like I said, it's the RoundHouse RoundTable. Let's get it.
I swear my glow up in lightning. Hot, yeah, something like lightning. This shit a hit on my psychic. She want me lick, I'm excited. See, I feel that's my business, and that's why I'm business minded. Need a push, get behind it. It's science, apply it. Worst come to worst, you tried it. Get it bad, get inspired. Shoot your shot, just the effort. I admire. You're hired, ain't looking for friends at this point. My circle is small as a point. Yeah, I'd rather send the invoice than hearing the fake on their voice. It sound like a business report. Don't fuck with the business.
One part of the RoundHouse RoundTable, me, Armani T, and I got my homie, my brother.
It's the ROD. Let's get it, man.
Let's talk about it.
Say please. That's one, please. Don't need no one. That's two, please. Don't leave.
All right. So the first fight that really stood out to me was Luis Saldana and Bruno Souza, which happened to be the first fight. Went to unanimous decision. Unanis, but I don't know about a unanis. I don't know about that. I know if it was a split decision, Luis Saldana, I would have been cool with that. They both kind of gave it their all. I think it was the takedowns that kind of forced the unanimous decision.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Bruno Souza just really had a lot. It seemed like he had more activity. It seemed like
it was like him on the defense, defending what was happening to him. So
just reacting.
Yeah, it was just being a lot of reaction more than taking charge. Lewis had most of the control time, so I can understand why it went that way.
Yep. And I don't know. It seemed like Lewis was kind of stalling a little bit and getting the punches off as he wanted to get off. But it worked for him. That was the important part.
Yeah, I think people just like the prelims. I think they just didn't want to get knocked out. So most of those went all 3 rounds, if not all of them. So
yep, till they got to the
okay. So three out of 5.
Yeah, till they got towards the end.
Yeah, yep. And then people were like, "Nah, we got to make it a quicker night." Like, nah.
Start speeding it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's one that caught your eye? Which one from the prelims?
I think the submission with Dennis and
Chris Shreve. Chris, I said it right. I know. I said it right.
Dude.
Ali Ash. No, I ain't mean to say that.
Oh wow.
We're just gonna say Ali.
Okay, yeah, I can stick with that then. Because he set the tone for the night, so that one stuck out to me the most because he set the tone.
Yeah, and I didn't know how it was gonna work out for him because Dennis was definitely putting hands on him. He seemed like the stronger, bigger guy. I didn't think that it was gonna really be able to. I didn't think he was gonna be able to pull off a rear naked choke. I didn't think that was gonna be. I didn't think that was gonna be possible. But once he found his way to the back and you saw how they were on the ground, he saw.
Oh yeah, it was just like over once he made his way to the back. It was over. It didn't take long, which I can always appreciate. Once you get to the back, you just get it done. Yeah, don't play with your food.
Early night. Hell yeah. Speaking of play with the food, Jennifer Maya versus Manon Fiorot. But I think that's how you say it now too. I feel that. But Jennifer Maya is getting up there, you know, and it seems like I said, I called it. I was saying, like, I think she just want to find someone really good she can give her number to. And that's kind of what she did. And she's going to be a problem for the flyweight. Yeah,
Manon seems like she was hungrier that night. She definitely had something to prove. And she was just attacking nonstop. So that was something I could appreciate. And Jennifer was just having a lot of trouble. Her takedown defense and her takedowns, they were phenomenal. So
speaking
young
of
blood's hungry.
Exactly. Speaking of phenomenal, Chris Gutierrez versus Dana. What's that? Versus Dana, which is crazy. Spinning back fist, and it folded him up bad.
So bad. And he ended up getting a bonus for it.
But the boxing looked kind of even. Gutierrez was touching him where he needed to. He was the underdog, which was surprising. And that back fist was just there. He was one of the like
it's been sneaking up on a lot of people.
Yeah, when people see, because people get so caught up in like the clinch and they get so caught up in you know, swinging when they close, they feel somebody within their area, so they're trying to just swing, had their head down a little bit, but see as much as they can. And that's when they bring their hands back. Next thing you know, that person's off to the side and the back fist is coming. Because it's that close contact that people they wait for. Because you notice it always happens after a bunch of contact.
Yep. Those swinging back fists and those elbows have been saving a lot of people and catching a lot of people off guard, getting a lot of KOs from it.
Yeah.
So I can always appreciate some elbows.
Like, you know, because, you know, Carolina, when she was winning that fight, and then McMahon or McCann hit that spinning back fist.
Yeah, because she was definitely losing that fight.
Yeah.
So, but that hurt.
Yep. Speaking of McMahon, because I said McCann, but McMahon was next. Versus Carol Rosa, which was, it hurt my feelings because Rosa was one of the ones that's coming up, but McCann's wrestling was undeniable. I think once she gets in that space where she can kind of get her boxing more in line, then she's already a problem with the wrestling. So it's just going to be worse once she really starts to connect the boxing together, like championship type contender.
Yeah, she got to find her flow.
I
think once she gets a little bit more comfortable, it's going to be a bad situation for a lot of people that step in the ring with her.
Facts. Speaking of the grappling that we was just talking about, the wrestling, oh my goodness. Mark Dawkis versus Borshev. Oh my God.
You were so surprised.
Because like when you know somebody just to be one thing and then they show out to be something different, it's like you accept it for what it is and you don't just do what Bisping does and just denies them the whole time. Like like waiting for him to fail. Like, why not watch and try to
Mhm.
just speak on what he's doing instead of trying to coach him and try to say what Borchef needs to do. Like, bro, like if you already got somebody who's a kickboxer and he's showing good grappling abilities, like why are you going to constantly try to put him in that box that he's just a kickboxer? Clearly, he's elite. He's elite. Let him be elite. He's a mixed martial artist, and they try to put different fighters in boxes, and they're way more accepting when other fighters open up to different realms and different boxes, like boxing or grappling. So
you can always tell who they're rooting for whenever the commentating is happening, commentating/coaching, because it's not ever really commentating that actually happens. It's mostly coaching, and it's in the benefit of the player that they want to win or to make that fight more interesting. And I don't think that should be allowed, because there's so many times they're calling out stuff and then the fighter starts to do that. And it's just like,
yep, exactly.
You're not the coach. Or unless you're getting a split on the side and ain't saying nothing. But like
hey, they doing cuts.
They might be doing cuts. Hey, you use my move, you owe me a percentage.
Yep, because a lot of it's coming from a place of intelligence. It's coming from a place of knowledge. Like, these guys were former champions, and they're up here, coaching for different sides. I don't know. Maybe it hasn't taken a toll yet. Like, I think it was at its most obvious when Kevin Holland used to run to the side of the cage and be like, DC, come on, you ain't give me no wrestling tips. But at the same time, like, there'll be times where people get those tips, but they're not going to say it out loud. Thanks, DC, for saying that, because that's not what's supposed to be happening.
Yep.
Like Kevin Holland just kind of maybe he wasn't thinking about that, but that's not really supposed to be a thing. Yeah.
So he blew up
boy McCoy. But shout out to Mark Dawkis, though. That wrestling, like, is going to be a problem for lightweight. That wrestling is going to be a problem for Islam. Like, it was him choosing to be first. That was the only thing. Borchef is an excellent wrestler. It was just his decision to be first.
Yeah, you were very surprised. He was like, Borchef's not really usually on the defense. He's the one that usually going after it. So it was like weird for you to see him in that light. But I think that's eventually what happens, and going back to being well-rounded and not just focusing on one aspect of your game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of well-rounded, Neil Magny got the W versus Max Griffin. Oh, man.
Remember I told you on that outcome when they was walking out, Max Griffin was doing the most. I was like, man, he looked like he don't want to win. And Neil, they here zoom to Neil with a serious face. He ready.
Yep.
He ready
focused.
to go. Yeah, he was very focused. So
Neil Magny do this.
Yeah.
That's obvious. That's clear. He be trying to do this. Then he called out Kamzat Chimaev. One that got punched like what, one time in like 4 fights or something stupid.
Well, that'd be interesting to see if he hasn't.
It would be interesting. But I like how Neil Magny was going after it more this time in this fight. I think that Neil Magny has what it takes, but it's just like those certain fights. Sometimes it's almost like he be right there, and it'll go for him. Max Griffin was really giving him a lot of power in the beginning.
He was, but then it looks like his gas tank started to go. So, and he was just in survival mode at the end of that. Like, second round, it looked like he went into survival mode because he did too much in the first round.
Neil Magny kept putting up that
cardio.
Yep, Neil Magny kept putting up that Muay Thai knee, and he couldn't swing around that shit. That shit was hard to swing around. Like, and he got tired.
Yeah. That's what happens.
So next, this one was, I was waiting for this fight. Like, I was like, I think this would be a draw. But Kai France versus Askar Askarov, unanimous decision. Kai France, I didn't know if it was a unanimous decision. I think it was pretty close, but that's when Kai France started to take off towards the end. Yeah.
I think that's what helped him too.
Yeah. Yeah, because the first round, he had the first round. Second round was Kai France, but the third round was definitely kind of questionable for me,
that at the end, what people gonna remember.
Yep. And that's what it was. And then they made it unanimous. I was like,
Yeah, you thought it would have been split.
something. And Askarov had a chance, like, but Kakar Friends, he got his 2 takedowns. That's what sealed the deal right there. Matter of fact, that's what made it unanimous, I guess. Plus the striking
matters. Yeah, those takedowns be a game changer, especially if everybody just striking, nobody's doing nothing else. You remember the takedown. So get a ground game or try to take somebody down. And
exactly.
Hopefully it don't.
That's what I'm saying. You speaking from a place of privilege. You say get a ground game. You speaking from a place of privilege.
I'm still trying to work on my ground game, so I'm not learning and open to learn.
Yeah, that's even up until a black belt. Always gotta be a sponge. Always something to learn. Speaking of always something to learn, Matt Brown and Barberina. I don't know why this fight got fight of the night. I don't know why. I don't know what happens to Matt Brown now, because he was one of the he's like a great fighter, but I don't know. I just like hate seeing guys like that just get beat up. Like,
yeah,
Matt Brown
happens sometimes.
When I say okay, but I'm saying no, it happens. No, when it's over the years, and it's like it's like coming with L's and win here and there. But this was a good fight, and the fight of the night. So the things where it's just like, yeah, let's let him fight again because it was an awesome fight because they shed so much blood. Like they was throwing the hardest elbows. That was elbow city right there. Like, yes, elbows forever. Like,
but that's why I got fight of the night. So like they both showed that they wanted it bad. So, and I can appreciate that, but I'd rather not have it that bloody, but sometimes you gotta get like that.
Yeah, especially if the other person ain't just gonna go down.
Yeah, with all them elbows they was throwing, just nobody was going. Got close to the end though.
But speaking of wanting it bad, like you said, Alexa Grasso versus Joanne want it bad, like clearly.
Yes.
Clearly Alexa Grasso. Because I remember, I don't know if it was 2020, 2021. She was one of the ones that fought like the week back to back. I think she was one of the ones that fought back to back. And like she's a fighter. She one of the ones, like she one of the ones where we gonna be considering her a dog. Like she's one of those ones.
She's trying to make a name for herself.
Exactly. So. And she humble about it.
I think you should be, especially starting out. You should be humble about it and be open because this is a new experience for you, and you gotta get your wits about you, or at least put in your time. If not put in your time, go against the big dogs and win.
Exactly. And like the ground game was great. Like it was good seeing her like really effective on the ground. Yeah. And I didn't think it was gonna. She surprised me. She surprised me. Got her out the way round one.
So fast. I was like, yes, thank you. Make it a quick night. Yes, end fast. Everybody else wanted to end it slow. Let's go. Let's get out of here. She was trying to go home.
Now she trying to fight next week. That's what it is.
Hey,
or not
fight
next week
then.
Hey, no fights next week. So we going just another tidbit that we're going to drop this on Saturday so y'all can have something to do, so y'all can have something to listen to on Saturday since there's no fights. Oh my God. But the week after that, we're going to get into that. See how she going to go look, double check. Y'all see that? Everybody's here. She about to go. Everybody watch this. Everybody watch her go look, double check. I'm about to say, and I know y'all heard the disappointment in her voice.
I'm a little disappointed.
So I don't be having her up here. I don't be making her watch these fights. So I don't want to hear none of that in the comments. I just be making my wife do this stuff.
Nobody's gonna say that.
Trying to choke me out.
Oh wow.
When we on the mat. No. Let's get to the main event.
I'm about to say, you just like
sidetrack. Yeah, that's what happens. This is the RoundHouse RoundTable. This is an independent program. LLC. So Curtis Blaze versus Chris Dawkis. This ended how you would expect it to end. Curtis Blaze figuring out the scene in round one, being cautious, but at the same time, when round two came, it's almost like he knew what he had to do. He knew he had to get it done. I think I walked out and I came right back in.
Yeah, and I was telling you it was over. I was like, don't leave. I was like, he about to come out. Somebody's about to get knocked out this round. Like, both of these dudes are strikers. They're trying to get each other out of there. They're filling out the water the first round. If it ain't happening in the first round, it's definitely gonna happen the second round and early. So
they did a lot of testing each other and in the first round and really filling each other out. They really got to do that. So that was the part that would really built that up for the second round. What you think?
Blaze had to do something, because if he don't do it first, if he ain't first, then the other guy gonna be first. So he chose to be first in the second round. So
because this was definitely a tune-up fight. I don't care what he say. This is a tune-up fight. This Chris Dawkins fight was a tune-up fight.
You think it was a tune-up fight?
For sure. Because they put Chris Dawkins up there. Like he got the right wins that really made him seem like he was that guy. You know, he caught the right people.
Yeah.
And like Curtis Blaze is a different type of dude, like elite wrestling and still can strike. Like his striking came up. He was more cautious. He slipped a few punches. He still got caught a few times, but at the same time, he was staying mobile. And he looked good.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying about people being new. Yeah, people being new to the game. So, like you said, they hit the right people. But once you start to get to that lower five, is like a different ball game, I think. And it's you hit a different plateau because they are there for a reason. So it's going to be a different type of test. And I think he got that test. And it did not work out for him.
He got to show out. That's the best part about that for him. He
got to get knocked out.
He got to. I'm talking about Curtis Blades. He got to show out and get him another KO.
Yeah,
under his belt.
For sure. Yeah. So I'm happy it went that way. I'm happy they didn't go all 3 rounds. That's always wonderful when you can get a finish versus go to decision. So.
Ooh. So UFC 273. That's what's next.
Yeah.
And we still gonna talk about that catastrophe.
Ooh.
But we're gonna skim over this real quick just to see some friendly faces, some names, we about to talk ourselves into buying this. That's what we about to do. Let's see.
No, you already buying it. Boy Aljamain coming up. We already buying it.
Facts.
So like,
so early prelims. I don't know. Early prelims is looking light, super light. UFC Fight Pass. I don't know. Y'all, that's something new. Okay. Mickey Gall on the Rosenstruck. Got Rosenstruck coming up on the prelims. And this is in where? Florida? Jacksonville, Florida. Go and raise up. Take your shirt off. Twist around your head. Do like a head. Like, you got Ian Gary. The dude, they trying to pump up. Aspen Ladd, number 4 versus number 7. Okay. Y'all got ranking fights in the prelims. That's crazy. Kevin Gaslin versus Duplice. I don't know how that's gonna go. Duplice is nice. One of them quiet sleepers. You see anything that any? Oh, I already know which one you. Mackenzie Dern versus Tisa Torres. If it gets on the ground, then it's gonna be Mackenzie Dern all night. Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'm sorry, I'm not biased, but I just
You
know
do be sounding
that
biased towards
I be trying not to.
jiu-jitsu people.
But when it comes to wrestling, and you got like a jiu-jitsu person that like they're the same weight. Like sometimes wrestling isn't always effective. Like some wrestling, sometimes you got to be a strong motherfucker to just be a wrestler.
That's true.
So
But I
the
don't
technique
know.
a lot of times don't you know, they have the technique, but sometimes the strength is not there because they the same, you know, they're the same weight.
Yeah.
So that's why I say like jiu-jitsu always works. Like that's you working effectively off your back. That's you getting a win off your back. Wrestling is just you keeping somebody there. So
I'm excited to see the champions fight. Aljamain, you gotta show up or put up, give it up, you know. So I'm excited to see what happens. Like I'm rooting for Aljamain, but if he ain't been in the gym, it's not gonna work out. Because
so which way you think it's going?
See, I want to make my decision for walkout, but based off Peter Yan's previous fight and Aljamain's previous fights, I will go with Peter Yan as much as I don't want him to win, but he definitely hungrier for the belt. So, but Aljamain got something to prove. He got to prove that he championship worthy. So it could go either way, honestly. So it's like that's why I want to wait till the walkout. Like I haven't watched any of the face off or the interviews because you know, like you say, it make you get emotional, and then you ended up making a wrong decision instead of just going with logic, which logic would be Peter Yan. But like Aljamain has a lot on the line as well, so we gonna see if he show up. I hope he do, but Peter Yan want his belt back.
Aljamain got that ground factor. He got the ground factor. His striking abilities, I haven't seen him in a fight recently. I know Peter Yan's striking capabilities have been looking elite.
Super elite.
Cardio has been looking elite, but I have not seen Peter Yan on the ground with anybody.
So
I've seen him fight for his life to not get to the ground. But I've seen that. So that's one of those things for me. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he was nice on the ground. Like if he really was extremely elite on the ground.
I think he has a lot on the line for this. So I think he's been practicing defenses and just how to get up, get back. If he's not practicing a ground game, he's practicing how to get up and prevent it, because Aljamain, he's a world wrestler. So you know it's coming. This fight has been set up for months. So to not get a ground game or practice or have some type of defense is dumb.
Oh no, I know that's what I would not be surprised at all. But you know what? I'm gonna go with Aljamain on this one, and I would not be mad because you know what? The last time I went with Aljamain on that one, and you know what? He won. So at the same time, it's just like as much as it irritates.
Peter Yan.
No, we don't gotta go back through it because the fight is already set.
We don't gotta go back through it, but that's why he won.
But at the same time,
Aljamain even said it. Peter Yan was the better man that fight.
Yeah, that don't mean he won.
That does not mean he won.
That does not mean he won.
You got to show up.
That's saying that he was fighting and he wasn't fighting to the best of his ability. So he's saying that, and what he believes that Peter Yan was showing him a better person that night, despite the outcome. So that doesn't mean that like anything. That just means that Peter Yan was working.
As Peter Yan tend to do.
Yep, he do.
So
he could have worked Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie.
I'm excited to see that one too. But I think he's gonna keep his belt. So
yeah.
I'm gonna say that. I'm excited to see it, but I think he's gonna keep his belt. Yeah. And I hope it ends round 2.
But if that belt changes,
that'll be crazy.
Korea is gonna go nuts. Like I like, because he already has a crazy following, which is wild. Like they really are behind the Korean Zombie, like t-shirts, merch, everything, like action figures, all that.
Yeah, and that's how it be when your country supports you, and you one of the few.
Mhm.
So
And that would be big for Korea. But Alexander Volkanovski,
but I don't think
he's
it's gonna
too
happen.
solid to
That man is just.
after you
It
see that
ain't
man get
happening.
out of a mounted guillotine
When I
and
saw that, I was like, this man can do anything.
then a triangle right after that, like, come on,
This man can do anything.
No, I'd be like, all right, bro. All right, bro.
That man, when I saw that, like, I was like, oh my goodness. It was deep. He's like, I put plenty of people in those positions and they don't come out. That man came out. And I was like, oh man.
That was pure strength.
He keeping that belt. I don't know who's gonna take that belt from him.
Is it like, if you ain't willing to dig that deep, then you might as well go ahead and stay home.
Hey,
you might as well not even get on the flight. Like, for real.
Hey, they offer somebody to fight and they be like, I don't want to take this fight.
But I don't know. I would want a fighter to not, I wouldn't. That's fighters. They're gonna take, somebody gonna take up the challenge. Somebody gonna take it up.
Somebody gonna take up the challenge, but like they say, they talk a big game when the cameras are on. They're behind the scenes. They're like, don't give me that fight. And I think that's what the case is for this. Like, let's be honest. That's what the case is for this.
Kazuma and Gilbert Burns. I think Gilbert Burns is gonna touch him, but I think it's gonna be a long night for Kazuma. If you don't put Gilbert Burns out, it's gonna be a long night for Kazuma.
Yeah, because he was like withstanding some big hits his last fight. He was still standing.
Gilbert Burns, but at the same time, it's just like Kazuma is like one of them unknown threats. Like, there's a lot of footage that they don't have of him because he ends his fight so fast. He's so new, and he's he a prospect. This is number 11 versus number 2 now.
So, it's the reason that's a big gap.
So if he win this, he is fighting Kamaru next. that's probably no questions asked. Of course, he want that gold. He want that strap, and that is going to be a long night.
Yeah, but if you really want it, you're gonna have to go through the tests that are set before you to get it. You're gonna do whatever it takes. So, like, you might have to go through the trenches, and I think it's only right you go through the trenches to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So, otherwise, like, you just be some Aljamain.
What do you mean? You think he ain't go through the trenches to get there?
I think he don't deserve that belt right now.
What the heck? What? I think if Peter Yan was that elite, then the rules would not be the reason why he lost his belt.
It was a clear violation of the rules.
Absolutely. Which is why it's almost
from
like
his corner.
Which is why it don't mean shit. If the fighter is inside of there, like I told Ronnie, so if his coaches in the corners is screaming, gouge his eyes out, he's supposed to, and he doesn't do it, and he does do it, same thing.
Yeah, I understand.
That's what I'm saying. It's already out. I don't even don't talk about it.
Like, he has the belt on a technicality. So to me, this is like the first official fight. Hopefully it doesn't end in a no contest, but we'll see.
What you mean? Hopefully it don't end in a no contest. Don't you speak that evil on that fight?
I'm not trying to, but
I don't know.
Essentially that's what it was the first time.
So you already know where I'm at with it.
Oh my goodness.
Let's just get into it. Okay. Let's just get into it.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Can you hear it?
No.
He laughing. Oh, so it's not funny no more. It'd be funny every time. Especially when you pause it and you see it, like, hold up, that's not a part of the script.
Because that man's trying to stay in his professional realm.
He does, like, but he really gathers himself. Yes, he did.
I think the unnecessary part came right here. This was all unnecessary.
This was the childhood hurt boy right here. This was the hurt part.
Yeah, that was the hurt part. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this was
I
the
don't think the slap was unnecessary, but this extra part is unnecessary.
I mean, like, all of it, everything is, anything could be unnecessary. But I think that men have a low level of violence at all times. And it's just like, if you're in person, like, the reason why on site is like, if you're able to be in my vision while you're, speaking of this magnitude, then that means that you are ready and willing for any and all consequences that come with that. Like, comedians know that's an unspoken rule. Like, if you get up there on stage, like, you got to be able to handle the physical element that comes with jokes.
Yeah, because
hurting people's feelings for fun.
Exactly. You can't dictate how people respond once you start making fun of them. You don't know what they're going through. And it's just like, you don't know what they dealt with that day. So yeah, it might be misplaced anger, but you just happen to, that was the last straw. That was it. So I think you can't dictate how people respond, but you open yourself up for it once you start saying stuff about other people.
Exactly. Look at her face though. Let's not. She like, oh, this is real. Yeah, he lunched.
Yeah, he did.
He did not want to say that, no.
He did not. He didn't even want to be there. I'm surprised, like, tears didn't come out his eyes.
Yeah, that look over was like, the police ain't even gonna come over here.
Yeah, nobody came to this man's rescue.
When he looked over, they was like, police ain't even gonna pull up. Nobody gonna take this man out.
Nope. Apparently they asked him to leave and he refused.
It's so much stuff, like, even to get into that is a mess. It's just like, because it's like people, it's back and forth now, like that nobody asked him to leave or some people asked him to stay. Like, but the part,
you have 147,000 emails. Like, you got it up here.
You're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah,
but
all right. Mm-hmm.
The part that irked me the most when it comes to bring it back to the fight world is Joe Rogan and his take on it. Like, how Joe Rogan, just a white man that is completely oblivious to black people and black issues, apparently, because he didn't know that saying nigger was not okay socially for him to say. So let's.
Is bald. Apparently, I didn't know this. I found out after the fact. But she did shave her head voluntarily. She shaved her head because she's suffering from alzheimer's. So I don't know if Chris knew this, but Chris says a joke around G.I. Jane 2, looking forward to it, very mild, just laugh. And even
very mild is the part that got me. Like, to who, Joe? To the already bald Joe Rogan? Like, yes, very mild to you, but the joke was not directed towards you. And this is what Joe Rogan does, where he loses me. Like, where like he can speak some real shit and say some real shit, and then like start talking about black people and black issues and what he thinks about black people, and then completely be off the fucking mark because he's been so far removed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he looks like an old potato.
No,
you don't see it. You don't see it. This man has 10.5 million views on this. This old potato man, people love him. They eat that shit up.
Because his point of view, like his point of view is like the average white dude. Like I have certain knowledge and I have certain knowledge in certain things, and I just want to talk to people because I just want to know so much about the world and everything because I don't have any systematic things that really plague the race that I, that I come from. So I just want to, I'm just that guy. So that's him. So it's just like he could try to seem like he's coming from a place of not knowing or always wanting to learn, but at the same time, he's putting out things he's speaking as if it's like concrete. So that's where he loses me. Like,
yeah, but I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, but when you have a platform like that, that's why he has to double down and say, I'm sorry for saying the N-word. I won't say the N-word. I didn't know.
But look at him. Got 10.5 million views right now after saying the N-word for years. It don't matter.
Yeah. Yes, because people were like, oh my God, Joe, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And it's almost like he making them hate the other side more. Like he making them hate people who didn't appreciate him saying the N-word, like hate them more. Like, no, you guys, you want to cancel Joe Rogan, it's causing more of a divide instead of him actually not condescendingly apologizing. I
don't think he care about that. He just wants the sponsorship and money. So he'll say whatever he needs to say. He'll feed the narrative to get the ratings. But
yes,
it don't matter.
But he has respectable fight knowledge, and I respect that about Joe Rogan. But when it comes to black people, he is completely fucking oblivious. That's just what it is. I don't know. It's no other way we could talk about. If Joe Rogan been saying nigga all this time and he didn't know that it was an issue, that means you are so far removed. It's ridiculous. Like you are in every social circle you've been around condones that bullshit. That's what you're saying. So hopefully he understands one day, that, just like jumping out the gate. And the guy that he was talking to was really in defense, hey, what Will did was it was just in some realm of the world. And Joe was saying that that's the problem with society today. They think it's okay to get up and smack somebody in the face. No, that's what was wrong with society. They think it wasn't. Because if somebody's coming off their mouth crazy and they don't have the strength and power to go to war, i.e. stop somebody from smacking you or be able to defend yourself from people attacking you from your words, then you don't need to be saying those words. You don't need to be putting yourself out there like that. And people do that and they can't defend themselves, or they don't have the courage to, to be able to not care.
I don't know. I think but doesn't that go back to maturity though? Being able to talk it out and not just resort to violence.
Absolutely, it does. It does. When it comes to Will Smith getting up and smacking somebody, like we can find a reason that is just if we just make up reasons. But like the thing about it is, the reality is like it happened based on these circumstances. So like we can always be like, well, it wasn't that bad. Maybe he should have. It was just
for him, so it don't matter.
Exactly. The only thing that matters is that it was justified to him in that moment, because
that's all that really matters.
Because everybody has their triggers, and everybody is not a Gandhi. Joe Rogan is not Gandhi. If he was put in that situation and somebody said that right thing that got to him, understand like where your lane is. And when you really start getting into the realm of talking about the black women's hair, that's where you're really off the mark. That's where you really out your lane. That's where you have to, it's okay to shut the fuck up. Like when it's not about you, when it's black people and you've explained how much your knowledge is not all the way there socially when it comes to black people, it's okay to shut the fuck up and listen. It is okay. Like those things are blessings when you take the opportunity to shut the fuck up and listen, because you can learn so much, and then you won't come out and say dumb shit and have your money fluctuate because you're saying dumb shit based off of ignorant shit that you were brought up systematically believing. So eventually, like I say, Joe Rogan, like it's over time, especially if like you actually do want to learn and you actually do care, but at the same time, if you don't, then you're going to continue walking to these traps. Like that you're setting up for yourself. So
Miracle Whip Devil. And we continue. Mr. Potato Head. Hey, but he got a lot of money, so I guess it don't matter. Sell your soul.
yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Like,
Yeah, sell your soul.
that's how it go. I don't know. I think some people get to that point and they like you say, sell their souls because that's the only thing they got when they do all the shiesty shit and everything they got to do to get to the point that they're at. Like, they look around and they see the people that's in their life and they know that they're like,
So
like
lonely.
you could look at them, you know you're not here for real.
You
Like,
empty inside.
you
You're
know,
so sad.
and at the same time, it's like these are the people who are leading a lot of people. Like, people wake up in the morning and turn the podcast on and
Yep.
has the same diet as them, has the same different regiments, and
Not
like,
the same money though.
not the same money, because it's
That
the work
money makes a
ethic.
difference.
It's the work ethic. Like, you can never discredit a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
They've worked somewhere constantly in one area enough to be able to create $1 million. Whether, even if it's like,
Was giving it to you.
family gave you a good little, boom, boom, boost.
Having to be a white man in America,
Mm.
thriving.
No
not-
shit like that.
Yeah. Just be white.
But it's
and
good.
a man.
Yeah. But next up, Black privilege. But the thing about Black privilege is, like, it worked for everybody. It worked for every, because, like, if black people good, then you already know Hispanics gonna be taken care of. You already know the Asians, already know everybody else is gonna be taken care of, because that's just how society works
Mm.
in the United States.
Mm.
But that was another show. That was another RoundHouse RoundTable meeting.
Mm.
That's what we're gonna start calling these. These are meetings. RoundHouse RoundTable, official. And we have good intentions for people. And we're not just out here just trying to speak things that we have no clue about, especially when it's regarding other races and their issues that they have going on. Because this is like, I don't even want to look at the percentage of African-American people that have alopecia to the percentage of white people that have alopecia.
Oh, it's a lot higher, if you didn't know. Just like sickle cell.
So it's just like Joe Rogan is just like, apparently, like, you know what I'm saying, just already coming off from a very just privileged like place. Like, oh my goodness, how can you do this about this joke? I don't know. It's weird though. But either way, that was another show. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. We had to, talk about that because Will Smith is an icon, a living legend, especially for the what he just did. He just did it for all the dudes who would do it.
And he did it.
And he did it. It is in every man, every individual. It's in every person. If somebody is saying the right thing, no matter where they at, they will get approached. And
People
they might
forget
get
that,
smacked
though.
in the face.
People forget that.
Like, but
Chris Rock
hey,
did.
I appreciate you hanging out with me today.
You
Rocking.
look cute.
I appreciate you rocking with a real one.
Mm-hmm.
And love you. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
That's the RoundHouse RoundTable show. And we out of here. Girl from the South. Why you gotta look at me like that?
That's why I use the heat as a sword. Cause keep the peace is important. They go keys for you. Say please. That's one, please. Don't need. No one has two, please. Don't leave. That's 3, 4. If you do.